Wow, here we are at the museum. This museum is just all run by volunteers. I'll take you through and we'll have a look at some of these beautiful buildings. This is obviously a little sit-down picnic area. Amenities over there, bathtub plant display. Wow, let's have a quick look. This has got the history of the Ghana people, the first inhabitants, and then a map of the area and the first landing and settlement of South Australia on the Fleurieu Peninsula and in and around some of the Kangaroo Island, Rapid Bay. Lots and lots of things to see and do. Look at all this information. Wow. Let's keep going. Spin you around. Try not to do too much editing so you can have a really good look. See that big antenna thing there? That thing right up there? Way up sort of there. That's the antenna from the shipwreck from HMS Hobart, which is sunk down over at Lady Bay. They kept the antenna as a bit of a thing. This is stuff that they used for horseworks. Excellent. They used horses as a common use of power source on many farms from the late 1800s to the early 1900s in the area. There's lots of ploughing equipment all along there for the tillage of the land. Gee, it's going to be hard for me not to go from one thing to another. I struggle sometimes to stay on topic, but that's just who I am. Right, look at all that tillage. They would have done everything by horse and they would have used all of this sort of equipment. Just amazing. Now this museum only costs $6 to enter. You can stay as long as you like. Have a good old walk around. Today is Monday, so there's no people here at all. And it's very well kept. Very clean and very, very nice. Look at this. Sowing the seed. The grain drills of the English spoon-fed and the American force-fed type were in common use in those countries by the 1870s. Wow. All the equipment. Yeah, they've got books here you can flip through for information. There you go. The old feeders, seeders. Let's prepare the ground and wow, look at that. That would have been carved out of timber. That is a cone roller, circa 1850s. Wow, 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 wow. That was used as an old threshing roller. Just amazing. And there's shovels and rakes and scythes and sickles and all sorts of things to do with farming in this district. Look at those old scales. Wow. Horses there threshing the grain. That's what that roller was used for. Look at all those people coming out on that day and watching a field display. How exciting. Wow, that's the Mellor stripper. Now all of these items were apparently donated from farmland nearby by different families that are still residents through the generations. Yeah, lots of wheat was grown in this area and there was a flour mill. Lots of farming. A lot of farming still goes on here. And that's what it would have looked like back then. Yeah. Some of these implements were used in the USA as well. They were brought across to Australia and I'm sure all over the world. So people could run their farming back in the day. Back in the day, what a great terminology that is, back in the day. And what a wonderful back in the day it would have been. I think at least we can endure it as think of it as exciting times, but I'm sure it was a lot of hard work and probably wasn't, it was dusk to dawn, getting up and getting things done. Look at those big old doors. Wow. They're the shed doors from the Butterworth shed at Normanville. Yeah. Incredible. Let's keep going. And this is all the table of poundage fees for the cattle impounded. What it cost? Wow. What an incredible museum. I should come here more often. It's not very far from where I am. Maybe I should even volunteer and help out a bit. That would be nice. Once again, I'm distracted. I'm going over to this side. Look at that. The old post box. All those sorts of things. Sheds. Big old red and yellow cart. How many children had a ride in this many years ago? And how many bags of stuff was carted? Probably a lot. Look at that. Wow. That was the wagon before it was restored, and this is the wagon after, which is this wagon right here that we're looking at. It's been fully restored. And that's a bit of information there. And that's what it looked like, with a hay frame, carting all the hay. Pretty spectacular stuff. What have we got here? This was the smithy, the horseshoe blacksmith. The forge over there where they would have heated up the coals. And the great big cartwheels they would have made, all things out of steel. And look at those tools over there. It's just incredible. What's this thing here? The upsetting machine. Turns flat bars of iron of various sizes into circular tyres for wheeled vehicles. I always wondered how they made those circular steel wagon wheels, but now we know there was a machine for that. Wow. Just incredible. And there's the smithy doing his thing. Blacksmiths and wheelwrights. Well, you never know what you're going to see on a sunny Monday morning. Even the plants here are nice. Look at this. This is the J. Barton and Son story. Joseph Brown, he bought a Yankalilla business, Bowles Blacksmith and Wheelwrights, and for 50 years they were making horse-drawn vehicles to order. So they made carriages that were drawn by horse. This is the machinery that they used to make it all in. Just imagine the person that came up and had the know-how and the skill to even make some of these old machines way back then. Like, I'm talking a long time ago, 1920s, 1930s, even before then. Just incredible. Look at this barn, even the barn's nice. Wow. Now, let's just go up here. Look at all of this. We're going into this barn here. Shut the door behind us. And we've got the Yankalilla Museum. Wow. It's a whole bunch of horse harnesses and things up there. The hook up on the horses. There's even an old pair of boots over there. Very cool. Yes, these are the German wagons, these blue and red things. This is the one mainly confined to German settlements. That's interesting. All the different harness buckles. Look at that. The bullock wagon, wow. That is just incredible. Bullocks were used as draft animals in the settlement of this area. Well, I did not know that. That's amazing. I knew they used horses, but I didn't know they used bullocks. Wow, they would have been some strong animals back then. Yeah. I think they used to use the bullocks for doing all sorts of heavy work. Some logging as well is done in the area. There's a forestry industry still to this day. Yeah. Wow, this is a tip tray. It's like the old-fashioned, you know, tip things over so that, tip it out, I should say, so you don't have to shovel it out. And they use that for road making and general farm use, pulled by 1 or 2 horses. Look at that, there's some bridles up there and saddles and all sorts of things that they would have attached to the horses. Wow. This museum's really lovely. It's got a lovely path, so even people that are find it difficult to walk or disabled in some way or need assistance on wheelchairs, they can come through here and have a comfortable day out. Wow, look at that. Somebody's made a tin horse with a couple of 44-gallon drums. Put an old dray saddle on there. Look at that. Just spectacular. Yeah, these were the tip trucks back in the day, prior to the 1930s apparently. That's the horse collar and the hames. Bullocks and bullockys. Wow. Lots of wonderful things. Look at that. That's all the bullocks down there. So each one of those bullocks would have had to have had one of those swings on it. Yeah. Lots of very well kept equipment. And like I said, this is all run by volunteers, so it's a real credit to the people that volunteer and keep this historic display going. It's absolutely wonderful. So if you live down in South Australia on Fleurieu Peninsula Way or even a little bit further out, take the time and bring the family and come and have a little wander. And you can even bring your lunch and have a look around. It's $6 to get in, roughly, maybe a little bit more. You know, if it's a family of 4, it might cost you a few dollars more to get in, but well worth it, well worth it. It's a big day out, lovely day out. And you've also got some eateries nearby and cafes. This is a military saddle. This is pretty spectacular. Very nice. Yeah, and this is a stock saddle. See, the stock saddle's got the higher back and the military saddle's got the lower back. Very different purposes, different uses. Camelback saddles. Wow. This is very cool. That is really, really lovely. This would have been the family transport. Yeah. This was built by the Clark brothers. That would have been the light for night time. And these areas would have been quite dark because, I mean, today you think about it, we've all got street lighting mostly and all sorts of LED lamps and things that really brighten up wherever you go in the night. But back in those days, it would have been so dark. Look at that. Wow. But I guess they would have worked from sunrise to sunset, so maybe they didn't stay up as late as most of us do. They tended to get to bed early because they had to get up early. Let's go and have another look at some other stuff. This is really lovely. There's a windmill up there. Southern Cross windmill. Lovely little garden area. a bit of information. Bertie Griffith, founder of Toowoomba in 1903, designed and made the Southern Cross windmills. Well, who would have thought? Wow, did not know that. See the shadow of the windmill turning? How pretty is that? Like I said, no one, just me. This is something interesting I'd really like to share with you all. Well, this thing's interesting too, the heavy cast iron roller. Very interesting, used to maintain Dr. Souter family's tennis court. Wow, Dr. Souter was a fancy man, he had a tennis court back in the day. Pig trough carved out of wood log. Wow, some doors. I wonder if that door belonged on here. Oh, on the dunny. This was a convenience for the staff of Elder Smith and Co. Their offices and adjoining manager's residence. Wow, look at that. There's a redback spider on the toilet seat. It's not real, of course, but I am very scared of redback spiders. I've actually been bitten by one once and ended up in hospital. But yeah, I probably shouldn't be showing you down there. That's a bit silly. It's just a display. It's not real poop. So this is the bathroom back in the day. Wow. How do you think? Let me know in the comments if you think you could live with a bathroom like that these days. We're all very fancy people now. We've got flushing toilets. We expect to have it wherever we go and whatever we do. Unless you're camping, of course, then it's a novelty. Let's have a look in here. What's this? Wow, this is ploughing equipment. This is the Ferguson story. Ferguson is a family in the area. That's obviously Harry Ferguson was an Irish engineer and an inventor who was famous for developing the modern agricultural tractor. There you go. Wow. Just fabulous. Look at that. In 1953, Harry Ferguson merged his company with Massey Harris to form the highly regarded Massey Ferguson brand that has produced tractors in factories around the world. Well, who would have thought? I did not know that two people merged their business to create the Massey Ferguson tractors. I just thought it was one person called Massey Ferguson. There you go, I learnt something new today. I learn something new every day. How lovely is this? Look at that. That would have dug some holes. They still use equipment like this sometimes. I have seen some of the farmers in the local district driving around and doing some stuff. Look at that. Beautiful blue. I think that blue is one of my favourite colours. That's the Fordson tractor. Henry Ford first experimented with an auto plough as early as 1907, but it was in 1915 during World War I, which caused a demand for draft horses. Wow. Some information there. That's the Fordson tractor 1920 circa. The duckbill scoop. Look at that. Wow. That was for land clearing. They would have probably used that to clear some land, and that was a breakthrough mechanical land clearing in Parrawa. Yeah, wow. Interesting stuff. Look at that big roller. That would have ploughed some big trees down. I guess they had to clear the land to accommodate for crop and for animals and all the things that they needed to survive in those days. These are the crawler tractors. International tractors played an important part in the development of the scrubland in the Delamere, Parrawa, Waipinga and Willow Creek areas. Those areas to this day are absolutely stunning. If you haven't been for a good old country drive, head on out and you won't be disappointed. There's just some amazing things in our local history, in our own areas. Wherever you are in the world, go and have a look at some of the history and some of the local things you have, because everywhere you live and everything that you have around you was put there by somebody well before us. And do them the courtesy of looking up the history of the area and thinking about how hard it would have been in their time. Now, this is something that's interesting. I don't know if you can see it. There's a glass window here. Is the actual church, and this church was a building that was originally in Inman Valley, and they moved it and brought it here to the museum. They moved the entire church, the whole thing, the building, the interior, and they set it up to make it look just like it would have done in the day. Wow, let's keep going. This is the timber industry. These kind of depicts some of the timber industry things that went along in this district. Some pretty big equipment. Wow. Very cool. Very cool. Oh. So this is the equipment that they would have used to do some timber logging back in the day. Very, very old stuff. Would have been a lot of manual, hard work. And there's a screen here which shows how it's done today in the 21st century. So yeah, all the machinery does it today. But back in the day, it would have been done manually with horses and bullocks. Very interesting. There's a lot of forests in this area, and this timber industry is still happening. It's sustainable, apparently, and I haven't done any research into the forestry, but yeah, it's lovely to have the forests nearby. They are open to the public in our forests here in the Fleurieu Peninsula, because you can go for walks through them. There's some waterfalls and things around, and this is all the different Second Valley Forest Reserve areas and where some of the stuff was. So you've had Garrett Sawmill number 1 was located at point 5 there. Sawmill number 2, Garrett Sawmill over there, sawmill number 3, and so forth. And a lot of these sawmills were way back in the 1800s and early 1900s too, so they are really dating back a long time ago. And like I said, it would have been all manual labour in those days, and a hell of a lot of work. But they needed the timber to build the houses, to build the lovely old homesteads that are historic, and we, you know, use them as landmarks to this day in different areas. Wherever you are in Australia, I'm sure that there's some sort of history there and some sort of landmark that good old folks back in the day had built and created with their own bare hands. Look at all this incredible stuff. Wow. Yeah. That's all the yucca gum. They used to separate gum from the yucca. So, all the different machines. Oh, I'll just take you back here. This is what I'm talking about when I say yucca. The yucca gum industry was a big industry in this area, so it provided an income for a lot of people during the Depression years of the 1920s and 30s. Yeah, that's how it goes. Yeah, this is the wattle bark industry. Information there. The bark was stripped by an axeman who made a cut around the tree, a about 1.3 metres from the ground, tapped the bark to loosen it, then pulled it upward and downward from the cut to remove it. The bark was tied in bundles to dry, then carted to the modified flour mills to be ground, after which it was shipped. Yeah. There you go. Wonderful information there. The timber industry. Yep. Lots and lots of stuff. And off here, there's also the Pinus radiata at Second Valley Forest, established in 1997. They're doing all their stuff and all their cutting back in 1997. Some of the tools that would have been used. Blackwood, stringy bark, lots of interesting things. I will come back here and take the time to read all these for my own general knowledge, so I'm just skimming through and doing a quick video to show everybody. Yeah, so Albert Jones was the officer in charge of the Second Valley Forest in 1985. Well, there you go. Interesting stuff. And then over here we've got some tools, old machines that I'm sure the Historic Society is slowly working on. And they've certainly got plenty of land at the back here to expand this wonderful display. Oh, look at this. I was wondering what that big thing was. This is the boiler from the Cowrie shipwreck. Oh wow, it was a wooden steamship of 27 tonnes built in 1879. I mean, can you imagine that? 1879. That's just mind-blowing to me. Wow. It was driven from her moorings at Yankalilla in a terrific gale on June the 6th, 1889, to become a total loss. She went ashore about 7 p.m. and within an hour nothing could be seen but the boiler. Wow. So they used to burn all the wood and create steam, and yeah, that powered the engine. Unbelievable stuff. So next time I'm out metal detecting and I find bits of metal, maybe it came from here, because I have found some pieces of metal that were exactly like that. I actually found a piece in one of my previous videos, if you watch it, and I called it the map of Tasmania, and when I look at it now, gosh, it actually looks like the piece that I found. I seriously kid you not. Wow. Maybe I found a piece of this metal when I was detecting and I didn't even know it. From the old boiler, from the Cowrie shipwreck. I might mention that to the museum staff, because I think that they might be interested. I could give it to them and maybe somebody could assess and decide whether it is a piece that I found. Wouldn't that be something special to say that Brun Free found a piece of a shipwreck from an old boiler? Let's go down this ramp. Again, like I said, it's very, very user-friendly. I haven't had to look down at the ground at all. I've managed to walk without tripping over anything. It's just so beautifully well kept and easy to get about. So children and elderly people can really move around here without any obstacles, that's for sure. Well, I've had a great day. Thank you for watching and coming along. I hope you've enjoyed this video. It certainly did take me back in time to have a look at different things and how they were done back in the old days. Once again, thank you and have a great day. Bye for now.